Welcome to Public Comment. I'm John Dunbar, former mayor of Yountville.
And I'm Alfredo Pedroza, a farmer.
And I'm DJ Rotten Robbie.
Thanks for joining us as we talk about politics, people, pride, and whatever else is on our minds.
She called me the disco ball shaman.
Putting the rainbow flag. Well, then you have to put every flag up.
Real improvements in people's lives.
Every time I drive downtown and I see those banners, I'm so thankful.
You do it out of respect sometimes to the community. Well, why the fuck do we have to ask for permission, though?
Robbie, thank you for joining us. And there is one thing I have to do before we get going. I have to put on my Alfredo. I don't know where you're.
What the hell, John?
It's not a party without a disco ball.
That's right.
I thought we're partners.
That's my motto.
I would have had a second one because we got them from Robbie. It was a drag show that he was passing these out, except Jerry managed to use hers. She attached hers to a Backstreet Boys CD.
So she had her own.
That she had for Bottle Rock, but she attached it to a CD from, the original CD. And so she wore that during the Backstreet Boys performance. Nice. I went to Ludacris, but
Luda was like, if we're talking about music, I think he killed it.
He's awesome.
Yeah, Backstreet Boys, Ludacris nailed it.
He did. And I know we're going to talk a lot about music because you are the DJ in the Napa Valley.
Thank you.
But thank you for joining us. I do want to start. We like to find out a little bit of the backstory of our guests. So tell us a little bit about you were born and raised, right?
Born and raised.
Napa Valley.
Yep.
So a little bit about your early history, and then we'll get into some of the fun stuff that you're doing these days.
All right. I had my first record player when I was 2.
No way.
I wanted to be a drummer, but my mom didn't want me to bother the neighbors. So I started playing records. And in high school, I was the kid with the biggest record collection. So I started doing all the parties. And then
smart.
People started wanting to hire me to do events. And it just was literally born out of my love of music. And it's just grown exponentially over the last 4 decades. And
so you've been a DJ for how long?
Since my whole life.
Shit.
Yeah.
Since 2.
Yeah. Literally since high school. Yeah. Lots of weddings, which I don't do anymore unless they're very, very special.
Hold on. Did you do a wedding over here?
Yeah.
It was a backyard celebration.
Did you get a permit for that, John?
It was not considered a wedding. The front part was a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
The back part was just
So what you're saying is you didn't have a permit. Does this make it null and void?
No, I don't know. You were the officiant. So.
Oh, that's true. Good.
This is a nice little reunion we're having.
It's all coming back to me now.
Right. But it doesn't shock me that you've been into music for that long. I love seeing all the posts that you do of all the concerts you attend and how you have integrated yourself and the mirror ball. I think was it Lizzo that really fully embraced, and a lot of the other artists, high level artists, are like, we need that guy.
She called me the disco ball shaman. I was in the front row, and I handed her a disco ball, and she put it on it for her very last song. She held it up, and the audience just screamed. And,
no shit.
And then, because I'd given them out to everybody in our section, because it's a good way to make friends with your neighbors at a concert instead of being against each other.
Don't touch me.
Exactly. If I make friends with everybody, then we're all in it together.
So is that the history behind the disco ball? Or I just wanted to say, okay.
Me and my former business partner, Tom Fuller, who you both know, we started doing this in high school. And our motto is, it's not a party without a disco ball. And even when disco balls were passé, like during the disco sucks era in the 80s, some people would not let us put a disco ball up because it was considered not cool. But we've insisted.
Controversy.
And then I started giving these out. And as soon as people put them on, they feel like they're part of the party. And they feel like they have permission to have fun. And
sorry, Alfredo.
No, look.
You know what I feel? I feel like I should share mine with you.
This is weird, but I dig it, John.
Yeah.
I dig it. So I have a question, though, because we were talking about...
It looks good on you.
Of course it does, John. But on the earlier pod, we were talking about negativity. And I'm curious, because, Robbie, being around music in those moments, it must be pretty damn cool to just see people have a good time.
It is incredible.
And I say that because people are just mad lately, right? And you're there, you're doing it. So what is that like, sharing those moments with people?
It's such a gift. I was DJing yesterday at the Ondas for our Napa Pride tea dance. And I played Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters, not knowing how it would be received, and it just blew up. People just were singing and dancing, and there's kids and parents, and
Really?
and it was so lovely to see. And now I'm seeing videos online of people filming themselves singing that song and other songs, and just the joy is just palpable. It's just incredible, and I'm so lucky to be able to bring that.
It's awesome. I mean, you do so many different events, and I know at some point we're going to talk about bringing a lot more awareness of LGBTQ issues, and you and your husband Eric are one of the mainstays in Napa parades. In your totally decked out float, we'll call it. But you have some very serious messaging, and you really have a platform that you've earned, and you take advantage of it. And so what is that like? You really are not only a community leader, but you're a spokesperson for a lot of people.
Yeah, I thank you. I feel like my spirituality is bringing community together. And when we do these events where everybody comes together and we provide a safe space for people, it's where I get the most fulfilled. And we started with, back in the 90s during the AIDS crisis, we had Academy Awards parties all over, but mostly at the fairgrounds. And we had Village People before they were MAGA, and RuPaul and Thelma Houston and Martha Wash and Dick Dale and the Deltones. And that was one day a year in Napa when it could be okay to be gay. And it would be Margaret Mondavi dancing with a bunch of drag queens and guys in leather. It was just incredible. And we raised, I don't know, $1.5 million for local healthcare charities, mostly for the Queen of the Valley and their HIV network. And then it sort of splintered off, and we decided we were going to try to do a Napa Pride in 2003. And we had two little events, one at what was Blue Note, but before it was Blue Note, it was just the Opera House, the downstairs, and a picnic out at Kennedy Park. And we did it. And since 2003, we've just grown and grown to where we have sometimes 30 or more events in June.
Wow.
Everybody sort of wants a piece of it. And we're still getting calls for June, even though we're in mid-June. People still want to have events. And
nice.
And then it sort of all culminates in what I love is the 4th of July parade in Napa, because it's so mainstream. And we get together with our group in my funny little car, and, driving down 1st, 2nd Main and all that with a trans person in the back and a drag queen in the back waving and getting applauded in this town, a town where I never thought I would see something like that, is so fulfilling. Just to provide a safe space for those people, and then be able to have, we had two moms who have a couple of kids in Napa, and they said, we've never found our place in Napa. We just don't feel like right. And our kids are getting teased because they have two moms. And I said, come to the 4th of July parade and march with us, and it will change your perspective. And they came and they marched, and I asked afterwards how it went. And she said, I haven't seen my wife smile this much since we moved to Napa. So it
That's
resonated.
powerful.
Yeah,
That's
because
powerful.
when you're walking down the street and people are applauding you, all of a sudden it feels like you're being validated, and you feel safe in your community, and you're seeing Napa through a different lens. Eric and I didn't used to hold hands in public until we walked in the 4th of July parade years ago, and it gave us permission. And now we do it all the time. But there's been a big paradigm shift in Napa,
That's an interesting point. Not that I want to take the conversation towards a deeper level, but I like what you said, because I think not different topic, but when I ran for office and I was the first Latino, when you said about permission, it's like, well, why the fuck do we have to ask for permission though? Right. And it's hard because you do it out of respect sometimes to the community, or, you're born and raised here. But to me, it's like, I want people to feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't want them to feel like they have to ask for permission. Right. Because I want people to feel like this is their place.
True.
And I think we've come a long way.
We have.
Right. But when you said that, it just stuck with me, man, because I was like, I can relate to the feeling.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I would always tell people, I was like, well, shit, I don't want the next person or guy or gal to be thinking about the permission part. Right. Because you want that evolution of society. Right. And to me, I like what you said, Robbie, of participating and seeing that person smile.
Yeah.
That was purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I look back to partly my role when I was elected in, there was Prop 8 and, same-sex marriage and what San Francisco did to really get in the lead with that. And I remember Mark Van Gorder, very impressed that he took on an initiative in the city of Napa to try to get the whole council and the community to accept same-sex marriage.
Yeah.
And it didn't pass.
Yeah.
And the year after that, I had 2 gay couples approach me and ask if I would support doing something in Yountville. And I did.
Oh, nice.
And it did pass.
Oh.
It passed 3-2.
Well, cheers to that.
Shit, John,
Yeah.
you did it?
I did. But it was because Mark started really
When was
to get
this?
the conversation going.
Oh,
I have
man.
to, we
Let's
cheers,
have a beer.
so
Cheers.
we gotta,
Jesus
we have to
Christ,
drink. We can't just toast.
Gosh.
Cheers to being a pioneer.
It was a resolution 2009 about equality. And what I did learn from Mark's resolution was it was very specific to marriage. And mine was broader about all inclusive,
Everything.
yes. And I think that helped people feel comfortable supporting, even if they were a little bit uncomfortable about the marriage component.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a almost a initial step to get acceptance, and then the hope would be let's go further so that there is full equality and full acceptance. And I do think that helped. I mean, little Yountville, it's not the most progressive
Yeah.
space, and people, but there are many people that fully embrace, who everybody is, and it goes a little bit underappreciated, I think, sometimes, but sometimes there needs to be a statement made. And, we've been flying the rainbow flag ever since also. And it's really, now it's normal.
I would,
thankfully.
Yeah.
you made a great point. And Robbie, I'd like your take on this because I'm going to use a moment when it was around immigration, right? And people wanted to do these statements around policing. I was like, you know what? I care about the people in uniform, how they're going to treat the people, right? Because that's change. That's real impact, right? Because then I would say, look, the 3 of us can go and not worry about whether we're going to be picked up by ICE. But there's people in our community that are. And it was almost like people were trying to use this statement. And you and I have talked about this, John, of saying, okay, we've done our job. But are you actually making change? And I think the question I would ask you, Robbie, is have we made the real improvements in people's lives, right? In terms of that person smiling, are they smiling more because of it, right? And because that's real community, right? Yeah. Versus not that symbolism is important, John.
No, it can't be the only thing.
Yeah, but we let
that.
Elected officials off the hook when we just say do a proclamation, right? Well, what else are you doing? So it'd be interesting to get your take on that.
I feel like we have come so far in Napa. When I drive downtown and I see how diverse the people in town are. When I was a kid, Napa was just not as diverse.
It's different.
It's very different. And when Ian Stanley, who was at the LGBTQ Connection, went to Mayor Jill Teckle years ago to ask her if she would raise the flag. This was before that tide had shifted. And people were just not there yet. And she said, but what about this? What if we do those flags that go up and down 1st Street, 2nd Street, and Main, those banners? That way we get 30 days of rainbow flags visibility.
Visibility, yeah.
And I think that's almost even more impactful than just the flag in front of City Hall. Even though I love all that, I love the schools raising it. I love this, all the different cities raising it. Every time I drive downtown and I see those banners, I'm so thankful. And, Mayor Jill was a Republican mayor.
Yeah.
But, she went to
from the Midwest.
Right. And she went to a mayor convention in Chicago somewhere maybe. And it was during Pride. And she has a sash that says, a rainbow sash that says mayor. And she hauls that thing out and she wears it proudly. And I look at that paradigm shift in her as a reflection of how things have evolved and how people are more comfortable with same-sex marriage and, just equality in general. So I think that it's just been incredible to witness.
But that's a great example, in my opinion, right, of a good leader, though, right? That they might have had their own views, but they understood the community they represented.
Yeah.
right? And her ability to provide an elegant solution that actually was not watering it down or diluting it or hiding it was like, hey, I might not be able to get this done, but we can do this with the same effect, if not greater. Like without showing division or saying, hey, go do this to create attention. Like that's what we need. Because too much of the time right now, it's like, well, let's blow it up.
But even in those early years, in those late, the 2009, 10 and beyond, there was pushback on putting the rainbow flag up at a city hall.
Oh, right.
And it's like, well, then you have to put every flag up.
Right.
That was the thing, right? And it's like, well, then we had to find some parameters. Like what would a person's interest, what would be required to qualify, right? And it's still a little bit ambiguous.
It is.
But that was, I think, based out of either ignorance or fear of what would happen.
I mean,
yeah, that too, because there shouldn't have been anything to be afraid of,
right?
Or be ignorant about. It's like, let everyone live their life how they want to live it.
Right.
And that was, I think, a statement for Napa and the Valley as a whole, that there was more complete acceptance. I've had friends that, non-white friends that have had stories about how they were not comfortable in certain situations, and now they are very similarly, whether it's the color of skin or other, parts of their life. And I think that's it shows how the Napa Valley has really evolved in terms of not just acceptance, but the diversity of thought.
Yeah.
And it makes us a better community. It
I
really
totally agree.
does.
I mean, we're a world-class destination. We should act that way. And I think we have. And speaking of that, we've gone from a zero budget with Napa Pride, where we were just shoestring, to now we have sponsorship money. We have tourism money, corporate money, politicians. North Bay Health is our official partner. So we've had...
Oh, you've gone mainstream.
We have, and it's so incredible to see. And our committee is so amazing. But to have that kind of serious backing where we can actually buy t-shirts and have them printed and it doesn't have to come out of our own personal pockets, is such a shift. And
is that validation?
Yeah, it's incredible to witness that. I mean, but our committee has worked really hard. Kara May is our president, and
we had her on.
Yeah, she's just killing it, and she's transitioning away after this year. We have a new Samantha Morris coming in and Samantha's doing an incredible job. So to get that kind of sponsorship, it really makes me feel good. I don't feel like we're selling out. Like we got some money from a store that I no longer shop at, but I think they're trying to fix their bad PR. But I'll take it and we'll do good with it. And it doesn't feel that dark.
We can relate.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We'll drink to that.
Yeah.
But a question on that though, and I'll drink mine in a minute, is how do you try to show progress though? Like, so as an organization, right, you want to not that you owe anything to North Bay or anyone because they're supporting you, but as someone that lives here, is how do you show, I'm sure it's beyond just seeing people smile more, right? But that acceptance, what does that look like?
Well, now, we're showing actual data. We have hundreds of thousands of views on our social media that we can now go to the tourism board and say, look, we're getting eyeballs for Napa, and that's the data that they want to see.
So like business benefit maybe. Wow.
Yeah. And it's kind of mind blowing how Bailey is doing all of our social media stuff, and the numbers that are coming in are just remarkable.
Wow.
And what we really tried to do this year in particular, since we have tourism dollars, is to set aside this last weekend and then next weekend and the weekend after to give people who might want to come to Napa Valley for a getaway and to celebrate Pride a reason to come and a reason to stay in a hotel and a reason to eat at restaurants. And so we really focused on those weekend events. And I think we have the data to show that we're putting heads in beds, as they say.
But so the business is one thing, I guess, for someone that's living in our community, how do they feel? Do you think we're driving more acceptance and comfort?
Yeah.
That to me is what I'm curious to, though, Robbie.
Yeah. I mean, the things that I see that I don't even know that I'm being a part of is like, I was at Bottle Rock and I was, it was early on in the day and I was in front of the main stage and a woman walked by me and then she stopped and she said, I've wanted to say hi to you for a long time, but I haven't had the nerve to do it. She said, I have a trans daughter and just knowing that you're here and you're doing the work that you're doing makes me feel safer for my daughter to be here. And she pointed to her daughter up against the barricade. And it was so incredible to hear that things that I do that I don't even know that I've done help create a safe space for that person to feel safe about their child who is in a very dangerous situation in this political climate where trans people are being targeted unnecessarily and, made into these demons that they're not. And my husband and I spoke at the old River School back in the day. Years later, I walked into Pete's and the barista said, did you speak at River School? And I said, yeah. And she said, I was this little lesbian in the back of the room thinking I was the only gay person in town. And then you guys walked in.
Wow.
And it made me feel like I was going to be okay. And then another story, I was in Maui years ago. And I met some people I saw some people from Napa. And it's weird when you're in another state, another place, and you see someone
out of context. And
we chatted and said goodbye. And years later, this girl walks up to me at an event and says, did you know that you're my hero? And I was like, what? And she said, I was 15. We were in Maui with my family. And I saw my parents interact with you and your partner in a way that I knew that they were going to be cool when I came out. That by the way that they treated you and your husband, I realized it was going to be okay.
She hadn't come out yet to her parents.
No. And I saw her yesterday. I know her parents. They're locals. But by being out, which is what Harvey Milk always said, was by being out, it changes how people vote. It changes how people, everything. That she saw how her mom and dad treated a gay couple. And
it was a signal that she was going to be okay.
Yeah. And I had no idea. 25 years later, she tells me this.
Yeah.
I mean, my work is done at that point. I'm like,
well, the impact you've had on so many lives by living yours authentically and publicly. I mean, I can't imagine how hard it was to make it public. Like you said with Eric, that you had to reserve your love for each other to inside.
Right.
Or
in San Francisco.
Or yes. Yeah. And so wasn't that where you first met in San Francisco?
Yeah.
So tell a little bit, let's get the romantic story going here. Because eventually, this is part of my strategy because I'm going to get to the Napa Town and Country Fair.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
And then we're going to talk about drag shows from there. But you two met in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
That was your first date.
Mm-hmm. We met on Gay Pride Day in 97. And our first date was July 4th in San Francisco. And then our first Napa date was at the Napa Town and Country Fair. He took the ferry into Napa and we went to the 4-H, brunch.
Really?
Yeah.
And
the morning of the auction.
Yeah. And we did all of that. And so the fair holds such a special place for us because it was really our first Napa date. And then within a couple months, he moved to Napa. And then, we've created all this stuff together over, it'll be 30 years next year, 97.
And what you said about you've created all this together is what a lot of people don't appreciate. And I just saw your most recent video when you were down at the Oxbow. And of course, he just kind of slowly slides in to the side because he's nearly invisible. And Robbie is not. The sequins give him away a lot. But Eric is just kind of slides in and you see his head pop into the video and then slide down. So I wanted to make that connection to the Town and Country Fair because again,
oh my gosh,
when you were growing up, it was a little different.
Oh my gosh.
And, tell us about that next step that happened when you brought, with some help, the drag show. And we've now had it for, is it 3 years?
I think this is going on the fourth.
Really?
Fourth year coming up this year.
Yeah.
Where that has become not only part of our Town and Country Fair, it was recognized by the Western Fairs Association. It was one of the 3 finalists for local programming, and I'm not using the exact terms, but specialty programming at a fair, and one of the 3 finalists, we got robbed.
Well, as they say,
not Robbie,
it was an honor to be nominated, honestly.
But how mainstream that was in the whole Western U.S.
And, the fair people are pretty redneck. I mean,
that's where, look, guys, where you were going, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've been
That's what I'm saying.
I've been to the Saturday livestock auction. It just doesn't seem like it was meshing, but clearly we've progressed.
We have.
It was Friday night. It's at Friday night, not Saturday morning. But
yeah. And to be at the Western Fair Association convention in Reno, Tahoe, or wherever that was.
It was Reno.
And there with a drag queen, the hostess of our shows, and seeing all these rednecks wanting to get in line to take a picture with a drag queen was like, okay, look,
the world's going to be okay.
Well, they can see that she's not threatening. She's entertaining. It was fun. Some people might have rolled their eyes and just, but went on their way. But, maybe some other fair might think, well, let's have a drag show at our fair. And, but that first year was kind of crazy. We got a lot of hate. But the cool thing about that hate that we got in the paper and around was that all the good people showed up to support us.
I remember that now. Yeah. I mean,
people of faith.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh God. It was incredible because the hate was so loud that all the good people came out. It was
packed.
Yeah.
It was overflow on the outdoor stage. And I almost got run over by
Jerry.
No, I'm what
Sasha.
She was they often will go from the stage and dance in the audience. And Sasha I think she was late to get back on stage.
She's a big girl.
Yes. And I was taking a video, and I was thankfully standing right next to a large tree. And that's the only reason I didn't get just totally steamrolled. But it was just funny. I still have that video of her. It looks like I'm about to be just totally run over.
That would have been so great to see.
The ages from 10-year-olds to 85-year-olds that were there. And again, that was an example that I saw the smiles, and I saw the comfort and the acceptance, and it was really wonderful to see that, because you would not assume that there would be that kind of response. And I know that we were ready as the expo board and our staff for there to be something.
Yeah, we had good security,
but it really, there was a lot of talk on social media and nothing happened.
Right. It's all,
and that tends to be the case, right? Yeah. It's safe when you're sitting there at home doing this and hating like this, and then if you're going to be held accountable, you don't show up.
But I would say, because you hear that, it's like, then don't go. Like
they didn't go,
but that's what
it was a wonderful time.
But you should not get in. Like, to me, this is where we have to evolve as a community. It's like, guess what? I went to a soccer game the other day, and if you don't like it, then don't go. Right. But what gives you the right to disrupt? What gives you the right to intimidate? Yeah. And I say that, like, it's like going to church. If you want to go to church and that strikes your go.
Yeah.
Right. My mom goes every day. Right. But that's her ability to, right? And I think that's where I just hope as a community is that, you got to accept we're all different people. Right. It's like voting, John.
Thankfully we are.
Yeah. Thank God, John. Because too many of you would be a problem sometimes. But you get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. This is something I've been wanting to ask about. And you're only giving this. I would say you're understated today, by the way, in terms of your appearance.
Yeah.
Why do you say that, John?
I am so entertained.
I got glitter and clips in my beard.
And also, and I'm forgetting the name of the little stuffed animals now. That you've made that whole jacket out of.
I have several. I made an Elton John jacket. I made a Richard Simmons jacket. I made a Pee Wee's Playhouse jacket.
The one with the Japanese stuffed animals that are all the rage now.
Labubu.
Yes. He has a Labubu jacket.
I have a full Labubu, head to toe Labubu costume.
What?
Yeah.
We went to a store for Labubu. We had to go to Livermore or some shit over there. Because my kids
he bought them all.
God damn it.
Kids are obsessed with that
It's
stuff.
nuts. And they're expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
I love that stuff. I love pop culture. I mean, I grew up watching, the Jackson 5 cartoons and the Scooby-Doo. So I have a, full Scooby-Doo outfit. I have everything.
Sesame Street.
Teletubbies.
I was just going to say Teletubbies, Barney.
And it's silly.
Who else?
A lot of this is post-lockdown. I used to be really shy. Even though I had to get on stage, I was very shy. I'd wear all black. And during lockdown, I grew my beard out, and I realized I had a palette. I could do whatever I wanted with it. And then I just decided, after wearing gray sweats and staying at home for so long, that those days were over, and I was gonna peacock. And it's given me. Drag queens always say they feel a sense of power when they put on their outfits. This has somehow given me a magical power. Like, people look at me differently. If I just showed up with my gray beard, I'd look like an old man, and people would go, "Why is this old guy on stage DJing?"
People would not recognize you in gray, sweats.
No. So it's one of those gifts of COVID. Another one is the fair. Corey asked my friend Rosie, a high school friend, to fill up Chardonnay Hall post COVID, because things were different. You couldn't really go indoors. It was just weird. And Rosie brought in Sasha just to do a tutorial on how to get into drag. So Sasha showed up as a boy and went through the whole process, and then walked around the fair, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, a drag queen wins the show." And they're like, "Oh, there's no show." It was just, and they wanted pictures.
There was a Barbie booth. Wasn't
there was a,
because Jerry and I took a picture in the Barbie booth. It looked like a large box. Mattel box. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you were the toy inside the box.
Yeah.
And so the light bulb went off with Rosie, and we decided, with Corey's help, to have, Corey's the director of the fair, as you know, to have these drag shows. Again, a person I went to high school with, who I never thought that I could be out about and with, is now one of my dearest friends. She makes those jackets for me. She's a master quilter. But that's the kind of paradigm shift I'm talking about. The people that, I thought that was my deepest, darkest secret that nobody could ever know. And now
I love it.
Well, and also there is broader acceptance even beyond you, with things happening all over the valley. The Garden is now doing regular drag brunches,
folklore, drag shows monthly.
We've gone to one of the brunches, and this is going to air potentially after the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh my God.
So I made the mistake of admitting to Jerry. So I have a birthday coming up in June, and
don't say, John.
it happens to be the day of that show. And I told Jerry I'd never seen the full Rocky Horror Picture Show. So she immediately bought tickets. And then we also just watched it at home. And to think of it, I think it was 1975.
Yeah, early.
Amazing that there was that boldness to say, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's become such an iconic and cult phenomenon. And I'm a little apprehensive and excited at the same time. We're going to go out to a nice dinner beforehand and then go to the show. And I know there's like live performance off to the side, and it's going to be
incredible,
interesting.
We did it last year at the Yountville Community Center, and it was fun. It's this group called the Bodycast, BAWDYCASTE, and they dress up like the characters and they act it out in front of the screen. And it was fun there, but I really wanted to see it at the Uptown. And the fact that we got it there is so exciting, and the tickets are selling so well. We're over 50% capacity, and we still have a week and a half to go.
Wow.
And that, Rocky Horror used to play at the Uptown in the 80s, and there would be a line around the block to see a midnight show. And it was crazy. So to have it come back there.
Full circle.
Now, it's very, very exciting. Right. And I actually just arranged this weekend I'm going to open for the show. So I'm going to play a really fun set of glam rock and, David Bowie and The Sweet and T-Rex and stuff.
Can you embarrass John?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. I'll have a mic. I can have everybody sing happy birthday to you.
Why do you do that?
I've done my job today.
Well, this episode may not air before that happens. So I guess we're going to have to do a follow-up out on the porch, let you know what happened.
Cheers.
It's going to be great.
It's been wonderful to hear your life story. And, one of the other things that I want to mention before we wrap up is not only have you changed so many people's lives really in a very positive way, but
Thank you.
I want to also acknowledge the platform that you have taken advantage of to really push politicians to open their minds to legislation that supports the diversity of our entire community. And you are not shy from making your political views known, often in balloon form, which just adds another Robbie and Eric component to it all. But I still remember the free Melania balloons. But you have really embraced, and it sounds like it's full transition from the shy youngster to now you're ready to take on the world, and you do take on the world.
Thanks.
And it's in a better way. It's not just to be critical, it's to be positive and encourage inclusivity.
What I would say, who cares about the politicians, right? Your story of that girl that you met at the beach with her parents and how her life changed because she saw the way her parents, that, John, we could spend 3 years being on the dais and you won't have that type of impact.
It's powerful.
Right. And to me, when you say that,
Generational impact.
that's real shit in people's lives.
Yeah.
Right. So to really make an impact to people's lives, I think that's awesome. So
We toasted that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well done. Cheers.
Cheers.
This might be the first time, I'm pretty sure it is, that I have been adorned with the mirror ball necklace out on the porch, but I felt it was fitting, and I appreciate you wearing it during our episode, but I also need it back, and I gotta have my bling.
You do got your bling and you got your ball right there.
I really enjoyed our conversation with Robbie and learning a little bit more about his background, but also he's lived such an impressive life that I'm really glad we were able to have that conversation today.
He makes your life look boring, John.
I know. Well, a lot of our podcasts have made my life look boring.
It's true. I will tell you, he's a very well-dressed man, right? You have a lot to work on, John. But like, I'll say this, I think it was good, it was different, and I was excited to hear his perspective on things, right? You brought someone on that was different, and I think it reflected this community. And I mean that in a good way, John. Like his stories of seeing someone on the beach and 25 years later, that person saying that interaction changed my life because I saw how my parents interacted with you. It's fucking powerful, right? Yeah. And I think that's awesome. And I really meant it when I said it. It's like, you shouldn't have to ask for permission. You're part of this community, right? Whether you're gay or not, or you're brown or not, you're part of this community. And I really believe that.
I do appreciate that the Napa Valley community has been willing to be more open-minded, and he gave us some real good examples of where he has seen that evolution and that acceptance grow. And the fact that he and Eric and others are part of the annual parade downtown Napa speaks volumes to how this community has really opened up their hearts and minds.
And I think sometimes, John, it's hard to have these conversations, right? It's hard to say, you have someone that is different. And I say this as a Catholic, right? I want people to be happy, right? Whatever makes them happy, and we should celebrate that. And they shouldn't be treated differently, right? And I would want the same for my kids, John. And I hope that as people tune in today, as diverse as our audience are, this is what makes us special. And it's okay to be different. Whatever differences we have, it's okay to still be in a room and talk to each other. And I think that is what I'm most proud of today, John, that Robbie felt comfortable talking with us, sharing his story, and that we felt comfortable promoting that story, right? That's his life. And there's so many people that look at him and say, I'm comfortable because of that. That's pretty fucking purposeful lifing.
Yeah, I think
I just made up a word, lifing, by the way.
Good point. Yeah. Add it to the dictionary. I really am glad that he has not only lived his life the way he wants to live it, but he has inspired others to be comfortable with that. I want it to get to where it's not a difficult conversation to have. And it is still in transition, I think, for some members of the community to welcome the diversity and the inclusivity that we were talking about today. That is our goal, is that it's a non-conversation, that we continue, whether it's cultural, racial, sexual orientation, whatever people consider that is something that they're not fully aware of or maybe comfortable in their own life, that can't we all just accept that we have this diversity that makes us so much better because it is really fulfilling in our lives.
I was not expecting this conversation to go in this direction on the porch, but I'm glad we're having it, because it was kind of like what was weighing on me a little bit. It's like, it's okay, right? And I might be a little more conservative you in certain ways, but it doesn't change how you feel about people. You and I can still interact with people and love people and want them to be happy at the end of the day, right? But who am I to judge that? Nor who are you to judge that? And who is the next person to judge that either, right? If it's what makes them happy, that's what you want, right? So I felt good about that level of conversation, John, and I think it's what people should be, right? That doesn't matter, right? What we all go home to, we're all going home and we're all being happy. And I really deep down believe that.
I love that Robbie has embraced his role as a community leader. And it goes beyond this month. So we're recording this in early June, and it's publishing toward the end of June, most likely. And this month is Pride Month, and that's not the only reason that I wanted us to have Robbie on. I think he is such a figure, almost iconic, really, in Napa Valley, because he has embraced so many people in our community that didn't feel like they could be their authentic selves. And I'm glad that he has had so much influence on people. And I wanted him to come here on our platform and maybe reach some people that he hasn't reached yet.
Yeah. Well, and I know you got a little happy about the proclamations, right? Now, I don't mean to diss them, but I kind of do, right? Because I want people to feel like this is their community. Regardless of the choices you have made, if you are being happy and you're a contributing member of this community, you belong here. And I think sometimes, John, and this is where my criticism about proclamations is, we just do it to check the box to feel good.
But it can't be the only thing.
True. And that's what and like his story about Mayor Teckle was so spot on. Jill probably couldn't do it because politically or whatever, but she said, let's find another way to make a difference. And that's what we want. Like, that was real because he's still talking about it. Had they done that proclamation, do you think he would have told that story today? Probably not.
I still wonder how I might look in a Labubu jacket.
John, I think you'd look very beautiful.
As long as I got my bling, I'm good.
But it doesn't matter what I think, it's what Jerry thinks when you go home.
That's a good point.
Cheers.
Cheers.